After the first week of football, who'd have thought Alabama would be right back on the top? After a couple losses, Texas would have a chance to be back where they are. And we've all kind of watched Texas A&M and Ole Miss kind of jump right in the hunt. And, that Texas A&M's kind of become my dark horse because they can beat you offensively and they can beat you defensively.
The Bowden Blitz, only on SportsGrid.
Better bets, $90,000, FanDuel, New Jersey, LA. Oh, it must be some sharp hockey better. Yeah, or a rich kid with nothing better to do on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is funny. God rest his soul, Dave Sheriff always used to say, if he told me this one time, Gabe, he told me 1,000. It's not how much someone bets that moves line, it's who's bet.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I think they are fringes.
Yeah, that might be a push. That's a preference thing, I think. Do you want to be in the SEC? Do you want to live in Happy Valley versus Norman? Maybe you can go down to Texas.
I would take Norman.
Well, to go down and get talent out of Texas.
Yes.
But I think you got to have alumni, president, athletic director that are all on board and committed to winning. And you need to have a fan base that shows up in sports.
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out.
Live on SportsGrid, it's Game Time Decisions with you here on a Wednesday night. Kevin Walsh live from the Decisions Desk. We've got a big one here on this Wednesday. Our guy, Coach James Young, is live with us in 10 minutes to help us break down day number 2 of the association. We are going to get you your target player props. Tom Vecchio will stop by as well. We're loaded up here on a Wednesday night. Cam Stewart's going to stop by, get a little golf picks on the board for the people. So we've got a lot of good stuff. I think tonight, a lot of focus for everyone will remain on the NBA. Yesterday, 2 games, road teams 2-0 against the number, both favorites winning. And you actually ended up with double overs by the hook in game 2, and thanks to double overtime in game number 1. All of the movement from those 2 big games is most notable, actually. This was a great job by the team in the back notifying it. Alperen Şengün's MVP odds. You might think, what? He's 100-1. He was 400-1. He actually now finds himself in the top 10 as it pertains to league MVP. He did lose to SGA's Oklahoma City Thunder, who sits atop that market. Tonight, there are a number of fascinating spots on this NBA board. One, though, that is being presented as the biggest game on the slate is getting very messy, and that's the Knicks and the Cavs. The Knicks are going to be down 2 of their top 6 in Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson. We knew that was going to be the case, though, yesterday. That started to flip Cleveland to a favorite, despite this game being in Madison Square Garden. And then Karl Anthony Towns was shifted from questionable to doubtful. Line shoots up to 3.5. And out of nowhere, Cat's now going to play in this game tonight. Muddies the water undeniably for what is one of the bigger games on this slate. I found a prop angle that I was happy to play in this one, and that's how I'm going to lock in. Full team has best bets. We will get you those before anything tips off, so don't you worry. Other notable spots here on tonight's slate. Boston and Philly. Joel Embiid will play. Not expected to be a full workload for JoJo. Doesn't need to be against this Celtics team. Boston up now to a 5.5-point favorite even. Philadelphia is now catching a 5.5-point number to the Boston Celtics. You have, Zion, Morant, new look Orlando Magic, Giannis by his lonesome in Milwaukee, but there will be a ton of eyeballs late night on the debut of Cooper Flagg up against year number 3 of Victor Wembanyama. The Mavs a favorite at home in that matchup, and we will break it down in its entirety. You also have the Minnesota Timberwolves in Portland. I'll let people know right now, a game I'm not getting involved with, but I will remind everyone yesterday, we went through the futures here on this show. We went through a Kevin 7 as well as my pick to win the championship overall. Minnesota is my pick to win the NBA Finals. In the news today that they're going to start Dante DiVincenzo. I think that is great. I actually think that shows this Wolves team is taking everything serious from the word go. With respect to Mike Conley, Dante DiVincenzo is the better basketball player here now in 2025. And Minnesota, who got off to a slow start, is not going to allow that to happen again. It makes me feel even better about a team who should have much shorter odds, in my estimation, relative to the field to win the championship. Let's remind you of those other futures that we placed, as most of these teams are actually going to be debuting tonight. Win totals, 2 of them to the over. Pacers tomorrow, Kings tonight, 32.5. The march begins now. No Sabonis, though, in that basketball game. Sixers to win the East. I think that their talent will ultimately shine through. I think they're incredibly live here. I think the number is delightful. Can't say it's the best number on the board. That's the Memphis number. 130-1 to win the Western Conference on DraftKings compared to 60-1 to win it on FanDuel. That's 100% profit boost and then some. For a Grizzlies team who we have seen with this core still win 50 games multiple times, they are injured. Memphis is actually sneaky Philly West. I know they're not that West, but Western Conference. I think there's value on both clubs. The Giannis MVP march, I think, starts tonight. You will see it all on display against Washington. The Bucks, a big-time favorite. In fact, the Bucks are the biggest favorite on the slate tonight, laying over double digits at home against Washington. Give me Edgecombe for Rookie of the Year. And yesterday we talked Mark Dagnall for Coach of the Year. As I said, on this show today, we will not only be talking association, we will continue to get you ready for Week 8 in the National Football League through the lens of our target player props. And there are a number of interesting spots, I will say. I think perhaps due to some of the success that Philly did have last week, we're not going to focus on the what do you think the Eagles are going to do question that has, I think, been around constantly. But Philly all of a sudden does have A.J. Brown pop up on the injury report. Maybe nothing. Something in the NFC East that is certainly something. Jaden Daniels out again. This is going to be the 3rd game already that Jaden Daniels has missed for the Washington Commanders. They are catching a big-time number on a Monday night spot against the Kansas City Chiefs. Is there an opportunity to back Marcus Mariota here? I don't know. I'll tell you now. I thought this was going to be a great spot. Get me involved. But the way that Washington defense was lit up against Dallas, backup quarterback, I'm not sure. Listen, I would never lay the number with Kansas City. I thought Washington would be one of my favorite sides, though, in this spot. Some of that confidence, though, is starting to drip away. Not the only QB question, just so everybody is aware, and we may talk about this a little bit later on in our show here on this Wednesday, but the New York Jets have ended up in a ridiculous situation. You have an 0-7 start with Justin Fields playing terrible for almost all of that stretch. Aaron Glenn defending Fields at every turn and then benching Fields. Their owner, Woody Johnson, basically publicly bashing Fields. How could Aaron Glenn win games with that quarterback play? Then They announced Tyrod's the starter, and then Tyrod is considerably injured, and they may have to go back to Justin Fields. What? I mean, what a mess. What an absolute mess. Can we get 7? Can we get 7? Anyone interested? Any takers? The march also towards, of course, the Major League Baseball World Series continues. We have that game number 1 Friday. Not too much movement in the market now. The Dodgers still sitting better than minus 200 anywhere you look to win the World Series. They are listed as game 1 favorites, which we knew would be the case. Blake Snell going to get the baseball. Still waiting for word out of Toronto with what they want to do to start that series at home. A Jays team who protected home field advantage in the series against the Yankees in a very loud way. Did not do that against the Mariners. They're going to have to do that when that series does begin on Friday. We are running up against our first break. When we come back, best bets, everything that you need to get ready for the early portions here of this NBA slate number 2 with the help of our guy, Coach James Young. JY, I know, must be very happy that the over he took in Thunder Rockets was an easy one. Never in doubt. JY was planning on multiple overtimes. I think that was a big part of his breakdown. We'll see if JY is back in the totals market tonight. Maybe a couple of sides stand out to him. I know a couple stand out to me. That's what's next. We're live with you on this Wednesday night. Game Time Decisions. We'll be right back.
Buy or sell, Genti will finish the season as the top rookie fantasy running back. And I guess I would ask this question to you, George. Who the bleep is he competing with at this point? It is so ugly at running back in fantasy. RJ Harvey has done nothing. Omarion Hampton is hurt. Caleb Johnson, does anybody even know where that guy is? He doesn't even play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what am I missing here? Oh, there's one. There's one that I'm missing. There's one that I'm missing.
I'll name that for you. I'll name the guy you didn't mention there. Well, Henderson's another guy, by the way. The New England Patriots don't trust, right? They don't play him. But the guy that could compete with Genti, would be the name that you said you loved during preseason. You love this guy's name, Cam Scotabo, right? He'd be the guy. He's right there with them. The only problem for Cam would be, A, it is the Giants. Their schedule is brutal. And B, Tracy should return. So that's going to take away. Even Cam will be the starters. I think he will be. But Tracy's going to eat up some touches there. So that's my only issues there. But I think he's the guy who competes with Genti for that number 1 overall role, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's not Hampton. He got hurt. Shocked that it's not Henderson. They don't like him. Shocked whatever, RJ Harvey in Denver, whatever's going on here. Will he finish the season at his top? This is a little different when I say automatically take the field here because there's only one other guy. I'm going to buy this. Genti's the best guy, but would I be surprised if it's Scotabo? No, I would not.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this for the guy that I just forgot about in Cam Scotabo. I guess the only concern that I would have, and it's a slight one, is that in a couple of weeks, Tyrone Tracy comes back.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions live on a Wednesday night. Let's put best bets on the board here from our team just because I want to make sure that you feel like you're heavily in the mix. We have a Wizards fan in the back, and then we had a free agent who somehow was perhaps convinced to join the Wiz group. Double Wizards prop. Sam, the actual Wizards fan, goes Kaishan George over the 1.5, made threes. Coming off of the bench out of Miami. Trey Johnson over the 8.5 points is Chris's best bet. So they are starting the NBA season with a pair of Wizards bench player best bets. Absolutely insane. I love the Dallas Mavericks tonight, -2.5. My favorite side on the board. I think Dallas at full strength is considerably better than San Antonio at full strength. The game is in Dallas, and De'Aaron Fox isn't playing. I think it's a great number on the Mavs here. I think offensively and defensively, they will give the San Antonio Spurs too much questions. That's a number where we just get to fade Wemby. Wemby's great. He's been great since he's entered this league. It's not led to a ton of winning here. I don't think it leads to any winning tonight. Give me Dallas -2.5. What about the coach? Coach James Young joins us now. Of course, the host of the Betting Above the Rim podcast here on SportsGrid, with some big news, by the way, lingering around that show. I'll tease that. JY can announce it when the time does come. But, Coach, we're so happy to have you with us here. I want to get rocking and rolling right away. Props-wise, what's one of your favorite plays here on this Wednesday night?
It's actually John Collins over 12.5 points. Now, if you look at the fact that he hit 95% of the hit rate, you're going to be like, well, he's going to the Clippers. He's going to get less touches, so on and so forth. But I think they're going to miss Norman Powell's 20 points a game. And I think John Collins is going to be really effective and a sneaky good trade for the Clippers. And I think they need to get him going as that stretch forward. So my favorite bet is over 12.5 points tonight for John Collins of the Clippers.
I know that the Collins addition is one that made you really excited about what the Clippers can be this season, and I think that is totally understandable. I will say, I'm on the Jazz at +10 in this game. I think laying double digits on the road to open the year is just a lot. I think day number 1, Utah, is going to be much better than day 82. Whatever the Jazz put out there in the final game of the regular season could be very well the worst basketball team in the history of this league. I mean, it is going to be dire. Kessler's playing, Markkanen's playing, Bailey's playing. Clippers implementing a lot of new guys. Like Bradley Beal's going to be like, oh, yeah, you want to defer to me? Sick. So I'm going to take 10 with the Jazz. Don't mind JY's play, though, on the other side. JY, let's stay in the props market. What else is standing out to you?
Yeah, I'm going to look at Dyson Daniels over 3.5 assists. And people are like, wait, you're taking his assists? I want people to understand this for a second. Number one, he averaged 4.4 assists per game, right? So if he just did what he did last year, it's going to be there. But I think that if you are Quinn Snyder, I would like them to use Dyson Daniels as a good distributor with Trey and put Trey on the second side of the ball because you can't load up on him. So now if you come off the pick and roll, now you can space the floor with Porzingis. You have Jalen Johnson, and you can't help off of Trey. So I think you look at that. I also look at the fact that there's no real true backup, in my opinion, in Atlanta. So you will see Dyson Daniels run the second unit. 2 games they had in the preseason. One of them, he got the 6 assists in about 22 minutes. Look at Dyson Daniels over 3.5 assists tonight.
I don't mind it. I think this is a fascinating one, though, JY, where, it's early season. I'm taking a stab on under 237.5 in this game because I think these are two teams who, throughout the offseason, have told themselves we need to be better defensively. And that's the identity of Dyson Daniels. I think bringing over Kristaps Porzingis is more about rim protection than floor spacing. I think both are big. I think it's more about that. And I think Toronto's just going to try and swarm people, right? Like, listen, BI buckets and all that is good. I gotcha. I think that the Raptors are going to need a defensive culture here, though, all in all. I'm taking under 237.5 in Hawks Raptors. Final prop play for you, JY. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Really quick. And I think you're right. And I think it's also the fact that I think Jalen Johnson is a very much an underrated defender. I think Okongwu could play a pick and roll better than Capella. I think you're right. I think what they did in Atlanta is they loaded up guys that could stop people defensively so that when Trey gambles, you have a back line that's going to protect you. That does make sense to me going under that game tonight with Toronto.
Listen, I appreciate the bump. I like when we get to do this and, talk through all these things. Props-wise, JY, button it up for me. What's your third best bet?
You remember our guy Jordan Poole, who we loved a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I try to forget about it every single day.
No. We are going. It's a pool party tonight. Over 2.5 made threes. Actually hit this in 68% of the game. I think with with that team, with obviously DeJounte Murray out, he becomes that second scoring option. Maybe you can say Trey Murphy to third, but he'll be able to get a shot off. Remember, Memphis, 21st in 3-pointers allowed per game last year. He'll get loose. Jordan Poole over 2.5 made threes tonight.
This is a game that I actually do not have any straight wagers in. But I will just say this with Memphis. To me, I think they are so similar to Philly in that we know there's talent there. Maybe they're never healthy. But I don't think anybody else seems to see it the same way that I do. I mean this so sincerely. I think the 130-1 on them to win the West is one of the most insane numbers I've ever seen. And I don't care if they go 0-82. I know people don't like stuff like this. I know that's a great bet. It's 60-1 on the next book. I just had to say that quickly on Memphis, JY.
No, and I think Memphis will be okay once they get everybody healthy. But obviously, no Pippen Jr., no Ja, no Edey. So I'm actually going to take the 4.5
I think Ja's in tonight, though.
Ja's in, okay. But I'm still going to take the plus 4.5 tonight with the Pelicans. I also think the Pelicans are better than people think. I think Zion slimmed down. Trey Murphy the third is there. Obviously, I talked about, the play of Jordan Poole. Missy at the center position. I think they're better than people think. I'm going to take the 4.5 points tonight with the Pelicans.
All right, we've got a couple of more sides from Coach. We're going to take a quick break and get you those after that right here on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell, Genty will finish the season as the top rookie fantasy running back. And I guess I would ask this question to you, George. Who the bleep is he competing with at this point? It is so ugly at running back in fantasy. RJ Harvey has done nothing. Omarion Hampton is hurt. Caleb Johnson, does anybody even know where that guy is? He doesn't even play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what am I missing here? Oh, there's one. There's one that I'm missing. There's one that I'm missing.
I'll name that for you. I'll name the guy you didn't mention there. Well, Henderson's another guy, by the way. The New England Patriots don't trust, right? They don't play him. But the guy that could compete with Genty, would be the name that you said you loved during preseason. You love this guy's name, Cam Scotabo, right? He'd be the guy. He's right there with them. The only problem for Cam would be, A, it is the Giants. Their schedule is brutal. And B, Tracy should return. So that's going to take away. Cam will be the starters. I think he will be. But Tracy's going to eat up some touches there. So that's my only issues there. But I think he's the guy who competes with Genty for that number one overall role, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's not Hampton, but he got hurt. Shocked that it's not Henderson, but they don't like him. Shocked whatever, RJ Harvey in Denver, whatever's going on here. Will he finish the season at his top? This is a little different when I say I automatically take the field here because there's only one other guy. I'm going to buy this. Genty's the best guy, but would I be surprised if it's Scotabo? No, I would not.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this for the guy that I just forgot about in Cam Scotabo. I guess the only concern that I would have, and it's a slight one, is that in a couple of weeks, Tyrone Tracy comes back.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, back right here on SportsGrid. It is Game Time Decisions. We're with Coach James Young, host of the Betting Over the Rim podcast here. And JY has already delivered us a couple of his favorite props. We've talked about one of his favorite sides. JY, I'm going to ask you to start with your action in Chicago, Detroit. What stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I know the line is moved tonight. So if it's down to 2.5, I'm going to take Detroit on the money line tonight. I know that when you look at the fact that you got guys injured, I think Kobe White is out of the lineup for the Chicago Bulls. And I just look at this team in Chicago. I just don't think they're very good. I know Jay Nivey's obviously out for Detroit, but I look at this Detroit team. I think that they are, in my opinion, one of the top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference. They played exceptionally well the second half of the year. I know they had a tough time with the Knicks years. We were together when we were doing some stuff in the spring when we saw Cade Cunningham get pulled in game 1. That literally turned the whole series. So to me, I'm banking on Detroit because one thing about Bickerstaff, he's good in the regular season. If it's 2.5 or less, take them on the money line. If it's more than 2.5, lay the points. They get the win and the cover on the road.
Now, we get to our first head-to-head of the season, JY.
Day 1, really?
Nets, Hornets.
Yes.
Would you like to go first?
Kevin, I think the Nets are awful. And I may be one of the very few people that actually are very high on Charlotte. You actually have LaMelo healthy. Well, at least tonight he's healthy, right?
Fair.
You look at the fact that you talked about it yesterday, and I agree with you. I think Brandon Miller is going to take a huge leap this year. I think Miles Bridges is very much underrated, and I think he's better than what people give him credit for. Remember, he started the year, I think, on suspension last year. And I think Charles Lee's a pretty good coach, and I'm banking on the fact that I just don't think the Nets are very good. They may take some time. They got to get Igor Demon time to kind of run the point. So 5.5 points at home, I'm taking the Charlotte Hornets minus points.
I am on the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I am on the Nets at plus 5.5. Did you say you have 4.5?
5, but I got it
okay.
at 5. It probably swung to 5.5. Yep.
Well, listen, we could do it. We could do a push and a win. I'm just saying, if it landed 5, that would, you know what I mean. Charlotte's front court is abysmal. They were between Diabate and Kalkbrenner, and neither one excite me. The Nets have an actually good front court. Like, the Nets have a better front court than, this is so sad, than the Lakers, with Nick Claxton and Day'Ron Sharpe behind him.
Wait a minute. What about DeAndre? Are you off the DeAndre train already?
No. 6 pounds? No. Don't get me started. Let me tell you this. Look, 2 people, one of 2 guys will be off the Lakers midseason. LeBron or Ayton. Not sure which one yet. All right? That was clear as day watching that game. That was, I saw it the whole way.
Oh.
JY, I also think with Jordy Fernandez, and this you'll agree with, he is a good coach who last year got them to play good defensively. I think bringing in Porter and healthy Cam Thomas, for however long this team is healthy, they are going to be better than people think.
Listen, I think early on they're going to be better, and then they're going to go south because it is especially after what I've seen out of AJ DeBanza last weekend versus Nebraska, and then what we saw out of Cam Boozer last night. Cam Boozer was like 32 or 13. Yeah. I'm like, I'm losing. I'm pulling the New York Jets style. I'm going 0-82 if I get one of those 2 or Darren Peterson. But the only problem is like last year, the top 3 teams, they got the top best odds to win the lottery. None of them won the lottery. So, like the Nets will have the worst record and don't do anything with it.
Yeah, so part of what Coach just said, that's why I don't like I think Charlotte's an under on their win total. How dare that team not try and get one of the best players in college? Like, they absolutely have to try and find a way to get themselves near the bottom. I want to say this, though, JY, just because this game's at the top of the hour for me, and then let me know anything you like in the game. I'm on Brunson over 2.5 made threes. Jalen Brunson was letting it fly in the preseason. I thought that was encouraging. Per 35-minute basis, 9.2 attempts. When Brunson took 8 or more threes last year, he made 3+ in 15 of 17.
Look at Huck Porty in the rebounding market. I think it's going to be really, really good. I'll tell you this right now. If Cooper Flagg was in the 2026 draft, would he be number 1 with all those guys?
We're going to take a break. Appreciate it. JY, target player.
buy or sell, Genti will finish the season as the top rookie fantasy running back. And I guess I would ask this question to you, George. Who the bleep is he competing with at this point? It is so ugly at running back in fantasy. RJ Harvey has done nothing. Omarion Hampton is hurt. Caleb Johnson, does anybody even know where that guy is? He doesn't even play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what am I missing here? Oh, there's one. There's one that I'm missing. There's one that I'm missing.
I'll name that for you. I'll name the guy you didn't mention there. Well, Henderson's another guy, by the way. The New England Patriots don't trust, right? They don't play him. But the guy that could compete with Genti, would be the name that you said you loved during preseason. You love this guy's name, Cam Scotabo, right? He'd be the guy. He's right there with them. The only problem for Cam would be, A, it is the Giants. Their schedule is brutal. And B, Tracy should return. So that's going to take away. Cam will be the starters. I think he will be. But Tracy's going to eat up some touches there. So that's my only issues there. But I think he's the guy who competes with Genti for that number one overall role, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's not Hampton, but he got hurt. Shocked that it's not Henderson, but they don't like him. Shocked whatever, RJ Harvey in Denver, whatever's going on here. Will he finish the season at the top? This is a little different when I say I automatically take the field here because there's only one other guy. I'm going to buy this. Genti's the best guy, but would I be surprised if it's Scotabo? No, I would not.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this for the guy that I just forgot about in Cam Scotabo. I guess the only concern that I would have, and it's a slight one, is that in a couple of weeks, Tyrone Tracy comes back.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, live with you on a Wednesday night. We are covering the association. We have a few games tipping off at 7. Magic, Heat, not a game I am involved with. Knicks, Cavs, give me Brunson over 2.5 made threes. And then I got a couple of picks in Nets, Hornets, excuse me. I'm on the Nets. JY's on the Hornets. Give me Nick Claxton over 11.5 rebounds plus assists. Claxton was doing great work on the glass in the preseason. More notably, he was awesome, dishing out assists. He was giving you 4.8 assists in the 3 games that they played against NBA teams on a per 28-minute basis. That's not even a lot of workload there. My NBA action starts tonight. We'll get more into that in just a little bit, but it is time for Target Player Props, as we always do on a Wednesday. Where could there be some value? Where are there some very legitimate questions? And we begin with a Target Player Prop on one of the biggest players in this league returning back to action, and that is Lamar Jackson. Rushing yards, over, under. Lamar Jackson is one of the best players in this league, and that absence has now given people some life that the Ravens can actually make a real run despite sitting 1-5. But I think this prop illustrates why some of the certainty that is described with is a little over the top. Lamar Jackson is returning from a hamstring injury. I know Lamar has emerged as one of the more prolific passers in the league, but it's the ground game that always elevates him another level. And do we know how much Lamar is going to be willing to run it? He plays a Bears defense that's vulnerable. They gave up 51 on the ground to Jaden Daniels in their most recent matchup. That's the only close to, quarterback comp we can make here, quarterback mobility. Lamar's averaging a career best 7.9 yards per run. I don't know how the books approach this. But I will say, if you see a full yards number, the zag might be under the attempts. I know you're going to say, what about knees? Let's see if it's factored in. I think this is a huge number to keep your eyes on because we know Baltimore's a big favorite in the game. They're booking The spread, I think, like Lamar's ready to rock and roll. What about his props? Speaking of a guy who's rocking and rolling, in the same division, Chase Brown breakout performance happened last week against Pittsburgh. Only 11 carries for Chase Brown. He turned that into 108 yards. On the season, it now feels like we're getting, a big year a little bit from Chase Brown. But it was that game that really changed the math. But maybe that will keep these numbers a little depressed now. Because Chase Brown, all of a sudden, with Joe Flacco averaging 75 yards, I don't think that's misleading. Because he averaged 4.7 yards per carry in the game against Green Bay, and that's Green Bay. In come the Jets. Feels like a spot where books can't post it high enough. And I think that while Joe Flacco throwing the ball 23 times to Jamar Chase and 33 times to Chase and Higgins and 47 times overall is good fun, that's not what you want to do each and every week. And we have seen some big running back performances this season against this Jets defense. James Cook put up a smooth $132. Javonte Williams in that weather game had the 135. A-Chain, Dowdle, and Bucky, all higher than numbers that I tend to believe we will see Chase Brown listed at, who last week had a rush receiving prop of around 65.5. His rushing number could be well low. We have talked about this market time and time again. The number one target against the Dallas Cowboys. How are the books going to approach this number? Well, the Dallas Cowboys are going up against the Denver Broncos, and we know that the number one target is Courtland Sutton. And this trend, so it was kind of funny. Last week, we had pivoted to talking about the target of the Jaden Daniels over 1.5. And here's the thing with target player props. Sometimes the numbers don't actually create those opportunities. Jaden Daniels, I know, we discussed it behind the scenes. His over 1.5 was too tall. Factor in no Deebo Samuel and no Terry McLaurin. The number one was probably Zach Ertz, at least from a touchdown perspective. And Zach Ertz actually still delivered that during the healthy reps that Jaden Daniels had. What do we think this Courtland Sutton number is? And again, is there an argument? Just no chance the books can make it short enough. Now, if it's a minus number, that's ridiculous. I think no way. Our guy, Casino Chris, far more involved in the anytime touchdown market than I am. But I think it's a safe assumption that Sutton in the 140 range is what we would expect. And I like that Sutton hasn't scored in 3 straight weeks. I think that's something Denver would look to correct. Sticking with a wide receiver. Mike Evans officially on IR, and the 1,000-yard season streak is going to be broken. It all sets up, though, for Mike Evans to pass the baton to a new streak for Emeka Egbuka. And I think Egbuka's receiving yards to the over are a major target. Emeka Egbuka's initial breakout, right, was, I felt, tied to the touchdowns. I'm not taking anything away from Emeka, but that was the whoa. Mike Evans then gets injured against the Jets. Late in that game, Baker finds Emeka, finishes with 85 yards. You then get 2 fully healthy games for Emeka Egbuka, because he got injured against the Niners, where Mike Evans was injured. And Emeka had 264 yards in those 2 games combined. 101 on just 4 catches against the Birds, and $163 on 7 grabs against Seattle. Emeka against Detroit, 4 for 58. You might think, lackluster. I've spoke to people close to the Bucs. That was a bad Baker game. Emeka Egbuka still hauled in 12 targets. Emeka Egbuka played on a Monday night with a hamstring where many people didn't think he was going to play. There's just got to be something in the Tampa water. If you're the best wide receiver on the Bucs, hamstring injuries are going to pop up, but they're not going to really limit you as much as they would other guys. I think Emeka Egbuka could have an absolute big-time day here against New Orleans, and I'm not sure we're going to see the books post it to if this was the game after the Seattle, right? You would think, 85.5, something like that. I think we could be in the 60s here for Emeka against New Orleans, and I think that creates opportunities. So your target player props heading into week number 8. We're going to talk about these with Tom Vecchio next. Emeka, over receiving yards. Chase Brown, over rushing yards. Cortland Sutton, anytime touchdown. And then what do we do with Lamar Jackson? And I think the reality is this kind of bleeds into everything in this game. What do we do with Derrick Henry? What do we do with Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman? It is throughout this team. There are few players as important as Lamar Jackson who will move numbers as much as Lamar Jackson. And we, of course, can talk about it from the side perspective, but when you start to dive into these prop markets here, are they adjusting things that tell us he's 100%, 80%, or they just have no idea? Let's see what Tom Vecchio thinks about the matter after a quick break. Hanging out with you right here on this Wednesday night on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell, Genty will finish the season as the top rookie fantasy running back. And I guess I would ask this question to you, George. Who the bleep is he competing with at this point? It is so ugly at running back in fantasy. RJ Harvey has done nothing. Omarion Hampton is hurt. Caleb Johnson, does anybody even know where that guy is? He doesn't even play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what am I missing here? Oh, there's one. There's one that I'm missing. There's one that I'm missing.
I'll name that for you. I'll name the guy you didn't mention there. Well, Henderson's another guy, by the way. The New England Patriots don't trust him, right? They don't play him. But the guy that could compete with Genty, would be the name that you said you loved during preseason. You love this guy's name, Cam Scotabo, right? He'd be the guy. He's right there with them. The only problem for Cam would be, A, it is the Giants. Their schedule is brutal. And B, Tracy should return. So that's going to take away. Even Cam will be the starters. I think he will be. But Tracy's going to eat up some touches there. So that's my only issues there. But I think he's the guy who competes with Genty for that number 1 overall role, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's not Hampton. He got hurt. Shocked that it's not Henderson. They don't like him. Shocked whatever, RJ Harvey in Denver, whatever's going on here. Will he finish the season at his top? This is a little different when I say I automatically take the field here because there's only one other guy. I'm going to buy this. Genty's the best guy, but would I be surprised if it's Scotabo? No, I would not.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this for the guy that I just forgot about in Cam Scotabo. I guess the only concern that I would have, and it's a slight one, is that in a couple of weeks, Tyrone Tracy comes back.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Wow. All right, live to right here on SportsGrid. It is game. Woo! I like what I'm seeing. I really like what I'm seeing. Jalen Brunson. If I'm going to bet you over 2.5 made threes, and the first thing you do is splash a triple, I'm going to just let you know I like what I'm seeing. Tom Vecchio joins the show. Tom, I'm very calm on this Wednesday. Not really all that excited about the NBA being back. I think many people can see that that's obvious as all get out. How are you, sir?
Doing well. It's a great time to be a sports fan. It is what it is. There's action all over the place. You can pick and choose what you want. It sucks that we don't have afternoon baseball as we did just a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, whatever it might be. Those always great to get the day started early, but great time to get in the mix.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Tom, there's a number of things that we can talk about with you, but I do want to get into some of the target player props that we listed out here. And I want to start with what I think is the big question mark in Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
What do you expect books to do with Lamar on the ground? Are you leaning a certain direction when it comes to Lamar rush props?
So this is obviously under the assumption that he does play. He was back at practice. This is going to develop through the week. I would say a sub 200 passing yardage total and mid to upper 30s yardage, because his props were in the 40s for rushing, if I remember correctly. And I think that has to be docked a little bit based on the injury. And I would be very hesitant to bet either of those. And that's just what it comes down to. I'd be hesitant to bet basically anyone outside of Derrick Henry. If he's going to be seeing the ball just because they want to lean on him, maybe they want to ease Lamar back in some capacity, I could talk myself into that. Again, that's based on the upcoming injury reports that we'll get throughout the week. But I would be very hesitant to go to Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. I may put actually Mark Andrews first. If I had to go to anyone, it would be him. But outside of that, I can't buy into anything.
Yeah, I think as I work through it a little bit more, Tom, I'm very interested in an under rush attempts. Again, I know people will say, what about kneel downs? Listen, it depends what the number is, okay? But if I lose because of kneel downs, then so be it. Again, they have to win the game, right? Like, that's the starting point of this all. I think it's interesting, though, Tom, just to pick up on what you said there, and I don't think it's outrageous. You're not so sure he even plays in this game.
I'm not. There's no reason to be confident that he will play. I mean, Lamar's dealt with injuries over a number of years. And late in the season, the joke was always like, oh, he's going to pop up on the injury report due to an illness or due to this.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be seen at practice. It's not going to work. So just because he's practicing, and I think it was yesterday was the first day outside of their after their bye week for practice, and he wasn't there. Now he's there today. Now, this could all be part of the plan, that this was the set date that he was going to return. Monday's a fake practice anyway. It's a walkthrough. It's this, that, the other thing. But if he's actually there, it depends in what capacity. If he has an injury designation going into Friday and Saturday, that's an issue. If he's cleared on Friday and ready to go, that's a completely different story. We're just not at that point yet.
Yeah, I'm very interested to watch this all play out. Tom, what I thought was a really sharp one was the Chase Brown rushing yards. But, it's all, listen, one of the reasons we do this is to get multiple sets of eyes on these. I think it's on the board that this number's in the 50s. And that's why I'm excited about this. What do you expect from Chase Brown heading into this game against the Jets?
Frankly, 50 sounds right, and that's where I would expect him to land. If you told me he was at 54.5 and he rushed for 80 or 90 yards, I would be shocked. I would be shocked. Yes, I would be actually shocked. If he was in the 50s and the books were that wrong and he went flying over it, really surprised by that. If he was at 50 and he ended with 30, wouldn't be shocked. If he barely gets over, also wouldn't be shocked. But if he is comfortably over this, I will be genuinely surprised by that. I think they will lean on what they know, and that's Flacco getting the ball out quickly. And exactly what happened in that game against the Steelers is exactly what we spoke about, that they were going to have an extremely condensed target share. It was going to be 30+% for Jamar Chase. Then the next set would be 25-ish% for T. Higgins, and then it's everybody else. And then they rush the ball a little bit, but I don't expect them to lean on the run game in this spot.
So I'm going to push back here big time, personally. I do not think you can have Joe Flacco throw the football 45 times a game. I think that is dying for things to go wrong. I will add this quickly, Tom. Their offense was stuck in the mud, and then Chase Brown broke a 27-yard run. And then they finally got their first points in that game. They were shut out in the opening quarter against Pittsburgh. I think they need the ground to get going here.
The thing that I would say, and like theoretically, I'm not opposed to that. The thing that I would say is I don't think they want Joe Flacco to throw the ball 40 plus times. I don't think they'll need Joe Flacco to throw the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of this, right? Touchdown favorite.
Because of the matchup. So again, if he gets there, I can absolutely see it happening. Him going over mid-50s, he gets to 60, 70. But him blowing through this number comfortably, that I'm not on board with. Him going over a prop, sure. Sure, I can be on board again.
But you'd like under on a 65.5.
I would play under just based on the offensive line being bad.
I think it's interesting.
If you give me low 50s, mid-50s, I could absolutely talk myself into it.
Not an alt guy for you in any capacity, right? Is kind of what we're talking about here.
I would not ladder him, no.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think there's a whole different conversation similar to Ravens-Bears of like, what about an upset, right? Like at some point, the Jets are going to win a football game. So, like all of a sudden the Cincinnati Bengals are laying a touchdown, right? Like, there's a conversation to be had here, but I think it's a very, very fun number to discuss. We're going to take a break. When we're going to come back, I want to get Tom's thoughts on the remaining two. I want to get maybe some early World Series thoughts if he has them. And then maybe there's some ice tonight, maybe a little association if it's kind of speaking to our guy, Tom. We are off and running, though, on a few games. Heat leading early against the Magic. We are seeing the Knicks lead early against the Cavs. And the Hornets are actually trailing early against the Knicks. So I think that's dog right now in the NBA. Quick break. We're joined by Tom Vecchio on the other side.
Buy or sell, Genty will finish the season as the top rookie fantasy running back. And I guess I would ask this question to you, George. Who the bleep is he competing with at this point? It is so ugly at running back in fantasy. RJ Harvey has done nothing. Omarion Hampton is hurt. Caleb Johnson, does anybody even know where that guy is? He doesn't even play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what am I missing here? Oh, there's one. There's one that I'm missing. There's one that I'm missing.
I'll name that for you. I'll name the guy you didn't mention there. Well, Henderson's another guy, by the way. The New England Patriots don't trust, right? They don't play him. But the guy that could compete with Genty, would be the name that you said you loved during preseason. You love this guy's name, Cam Scotabo, right? He'd be the guy. He's right there with them. The only problem for Cam would be, A, it is the Giants. Their schedule is brutal. And B, Tracy should return. So it's going to take away. Even Cam will be the starters. I think he will be, but Tracy's going to eat up some touches there. So that's my only issues there. But I think he's the guy who competes with Genty for that number one overall role, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's not Hampton, but he got hurt. Shocked that it's not Henderson, but they don't like him. Shocked whatever RJ Harvey in Denver, whatever's going on here. Will he finish the season at his top? This is a little different when I say I automatically take the field here because there's only one other guy. I'm going to buy this. Genty's the best guy, but would I be surprised if it's Scotabo? No, I would not.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this for the guy that I just forgot about in Cam Scotabo. I guess the only concern that I would have, and it's a slight one, is that in a couple of weeks, Tyrone Tracy comes back.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
Back right here on SportsGrid, it's Game Time Decisions. We're joined by Tom Vecchio. You can catch Tom across the SportsGrid network. We're going through some of these target player props here. Tom, is a touchdown guy. Is Courtland Sutton someone that you have on your radar heading into the matchup with the Cowboys?
I always have Courtland Sutton on my radar because the Denver passing offense is a mess. When we look at him, and if you just look at the props as we saw last week, and it's basically the same thing on a week-to-week basis for the Broncos. It's Courtland Sutton with 60-plus yards And then the next player is at 20 plus and 18 and a half and 23. So it's Cortland Sutton in the passing offense and then everyone else. He is the best player on that offense. Give him the ball. It's that simple. So I'm always on board with Cortland Sutton.
Emeka Egbuka, what do you think the range could be for him?
I mean, you know what I think of him, as I have been on board coming into the season. Him going for 100 plus is totally on the table. The target share, again, the distribution will be there. Tez Johnson is actually really interesting. I spoke about him the other night going into the matchup. It's going to be Egbuka, Cade Otton, Tez Johnson, everyone else. 100 plus for him, absolutely on the table.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is, and sounds like you're in a similar boat, I'm not really worried about the injury. I don't know if that's silly, but he played the whole game against Detroit.
Honestly, I didn't think he was going to play, knowing
Neither did I.
Their bye week coming up. I thought he was going to sit out. He could sit out both games last week, or I should say Monday night versus the Lions, and then this week, and then they're buying. Like, oh, hang on. Now he's fully ready to go for the rest of the season. But that's not the issue. I mean, maybe it's just, hey, he's young. He's actually bounced back pretty quickly. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I am excited to see how that looks. Tom, the World Series is Friday. I'm not sure if we'll talk to you before that begins. So have you placed any action yet in the World Series?
Yeah, only going with one so far. You don't be betting on a game-to-game basis, whatever happens to pop up. But over 5.5 games is what I have now. It is pretty heavily juiced, at least over on FanDuel. It was minus 162, but they had at the time the 30% boost. So I used that on it just to get some better odds on it. But over 5.5 would be my pick as of now.
So are you leaning a certain way on the side? Obviously, you're expecting the series to go long.
Yeah, if I had to pick, I may also place a Dodgers win in 6 games, 4-2, just to have a little bit of extra action on that. If I'm, very right about it going over 5.5 and the 4-2 direct outcome, that would be nice. I would like to see the Blue Jays win, but the Dodgers are absolutely amazing with that pitching staff. It's going to be tough for the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have to try to outslug them in some games. That's what it really comes down to. They have to get to Snell or Yamamoto in game 1 or game 2. They have to come away with one of those wins.
Yeah, I agree, and I think there's a very good chance that they will. I think this is a situation where there was just a real gap in just because the series between Toronto and Seattle was close does not mean that they were going to give the Dodgers an equal series. And I don't think Seattle had any chance. I think their pitching, which was supposed to be what they relied on, had now continuously not shown up in the postseason. And their hitting, to me, I don't think would have struck fear into the Dodger pitching. The Blue Jays have been the best offense in this postseason, Tom. I don't even think it's particularly close.
It hasn't, and I'm just looking at some of the MVP markets. Like, you really do need someone else besides Vladdy or George Springer to step up. Like, there has to be a new unsung hero. Like, those guys have to do their part, but you also need someone to be like that extra power to help propel them to a win.
Like, the Blue Jays have scored 71 runs in the playoffs. Next closest was Seattle at 49 in an extra game. Yeah. Like, it's just, the Blue Jays are hitting 296 as a team. The Dodgers 256. I don't think it can be overstated how great the Blue Jays offense has been. And the Dodgers are here right now because of their pitching. Not, like, I know what the story became. Ohtani. I'm not saying it's undeserved. That has not been the story of what the Dodgers have been during this postseason, Tom.
No, it hasn't. He's done his part, but it's like, oh, Snell went this, Yamamoto, hang on, a complete game from him? What are we going to be getting next? And it's like they have a well-rounded thing. Glasnow was great. Glasnow came out of the pen in the Phillies series. It's been pitching for them, really.
Yeah, it is a really, really fun World Series, though, and we will, of course, be covering it in full in the lead-up and on Friday night. Great stuff from Tom, as always. We'll get you the full rest of the NBA card after the break on SportsGrid.
buy or sell, Gentry will finish the season as the top rookie fantasy running back. And I guess I would ask this question to you, George. Who the bleep is he competing with at this point? It is so ugly at running back in fantasy. RJ Harvey has done nothing. Omarion Hampton is hurt. Caleb Johnson, does anybody even know where that guy is? He doesn't even play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, what am I missing here? Oh, there's one. There's one that I'm missing. There's one that I'm missing.
I'll name that for you. I'll name the guy you didn't mention there. Well, Henderson's another guy, by the way. The New England Patriots don't trust, right? They don't play him. But the guy that could compete with Gentry, would be the name that you said you loved during preseason. You love this guy's name, Cam Scotabo, right? He'd be the guy. He's right there with them. The only problem for Cam would be, A, it is the Giants. Their schedule is brutal. And B, Tracy should return. So that's going to take away. Cam will be the starters. I think he will be. But Tracy's going to eat up some touches there. So that's my only issues there. But I think he's the guy who competes with Gentry for that number one overall role, which I'm shocked. I'm shocked that it's not Hampton, but he got hurt. Shocked that it's not Henderson, but they don't like him. Shocked whatever, RJ Harvey in Denver, whatever's going on here. Will he finish the season at his top? This is a little different when I say I automatically take the field here because there's only one other guy. I'm going to buy this. Gentry's the best guy, but would I be surprised if it's Scotabo? No, I would not.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this for the guy that I just forgot about in Cam Scotabo. I guess the only concern that I would have, and it's a slight one, is that in a couple of weeks, Tyrone Tracy comes back.
Fantasy Sports Today. Fridays starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, live with you on SportsGrid on a Wednesday night. We got a couple of picks on the card that are not too far away. So let's break those down for you with an NBA slate that's going to add a couple of games here at 7:30. I'm on under 237.5 in Hawks Raptors. I believe this was your highest total on this slate. And listen, I know these totals are for a reason, but you've got to remember that you do have turnover year over year, and that is true for both of these teams. Brandon Ingram was traded to the Raptors and then never played for the Raptors. He's inserted into the starting lineup. There's a lot of new here for the Atlanta Hawks, primarily with Kristaps Porzingis coming over. These are two teams who I think are really hoping they can take a big-time step forward on the defensive side of the ball. The worry here is undeniably about pace, even if the defensive sides step up here. These teams are going to want to get up and down, and that's where I could get hurt. But at 237.5, I thought it was worth a shot. I made a couple of bets in Boston, Philadelphia. It started with the side as I'm taking the 4.5 points. Got a bad number, though. This thing's going to close 5.5 anywhere that you look, really, for this one. What's interesting, though, is this was 1.5. I don't know if books were expecting Embiid to miss this game. I never was. He was not going to play in a preseason game and then proceed to miss the opener. That just would not make any sense. I was happy to get it at 4.5. I mean, I would still take it at 5.5, of course. I don't feel discouraged. I disagree with how people probably see Boston heading into this year. The books have dropped their win total considerably. It's probably about as far as they can drop it for a team who lost 4 of their 6 best players. Kristaps is in Atlanta, Horford is in Golden State, Drew Holiday is in Portland, and Tatum is not here. The whole identity of Boston was having the best top 6 in basketball. It's now Jaylen Brown and Derek White. And Jaylen Brown as a lead guy is going to put up big numbers. He's not Jason Tatum. He never has been, and that's just what it is. And defensively for Boston, it's not going to be the same because those 4 guys that I mentioned are all great defenders. They're being replaced by Peyton Pritchard and Anthony Simons, who are bad defenders. I know the idea for Boston is they're going to bomb away threes. That's where the absence of Horford hurts, and that's where the absence of Kristaps hurts. They had excellent floor spacing 5s. They had 2 of them. Namus Cada's not stepping out. I think Chris Boucher will. I'm on him over 1.5 made threes. We'll shoot him in the preseason, and it's just going to be the design of this Boston team. So I think that's a really nice look. That was sitting at around plus 175. So I think you're getting a really good number. I don't mind if you chase a little bit higher. I think the attempts will be there for Boucher. You guys know I'm in on Philly this season. Win the East, Edgecombe Rookie of the Year, and I'm betting the Sixers tonight, catching 5.5. Let's keep going through this card here, though, because there's a few spots still to come a little bit later. We'll start with the double-digit dog, which is the Utah Jazz. I think that the Jazz are the worst team in the NBA. I think they're worse than the Nets. I think they're worse than the Wizards, the Hornets. I think they are the worst team in the league. But it's the first night of the season, and to a degree, what makes the Jazz so bad over 82 games is that Lauri Markkanen will be injured or traded. Walker Kessler will be injured or traded. And then you look around, it's young guys who are going to be looking to find their role. There's down the road upside on, Isaiah Collier or, George or Bailey. But it's not now. But Lowry's playing. Kessler's playing. And it's the opening game of the season against a team, as we talk about, a lot of turnover. The whole thing about the Clippers are all these new guys. Bradley Beal, who's got to start because, of course, Chris Paul, Brooke Lopez, and how it all meshes together is something that is a good problem for Ty Lue to have, but it's a problem to start the year to where I think you're going to have to be supremely dialed to just destroy a team from the word go on the road. And I wouldn't expect that here with the Clippers playing the Jazz. Give me Utah plus 10. And then my best bet on this slate tonight, it's my favorite side, it's my favorite play. It's Dallas minus 2.5. And I'm just going to double check one more time. This is up to 3 everywhere, some 3.5s, but you can still get it 3. Of course, you always want to get the best of the number. I don't think the number is going to matter. I think the fully healthy Spurs and the fully healthy, and when I say fully healthy Mavericks, I'm not including Kyrie. That is a pipe dream. I don't even really bank on him playing at all this year for the Mavs. That speaks to their long-term futures market outlook more than it does for tonight. I think the Mavs are comfortably better than the Spurs. I think Dallas is set up to have themselves a very, very good defense. The pack-to-paint approach that you will see because they are playing Cooper Flagg as a 3, Anthony Davis as a 4, with either Lively or Gafford behind him, is going to make life very difficult and is going to cover for D'Lo, who can't guard much, and Klay Thompson, who can't guard as much anymore. Yet offensively, when healthy, this team will be able to generate easy looks through Klay Thompson and D'Lo spacing and just through incredible play that AD will provide, who's one of the 12 best guys in this league when healthy, and through Cooper Flagg, who's one of the most hyped up, exciting rookies we have had introduced into this league in some time. On the San Antonio side, you don't have to sell me on Wemby. My best bet in the futures market is a Wemby triple-double ladder. Took him to get 3, took him to get 4, took him to get 5. I think Victor Wembanyama has that type of season. I really do. Let's talk about the Spurs outside of Wemby. Well, that conversation is supposed to begin with De'Aaron Fox. He's not playing. De'Aaron Fox is out with a hamstring injury night number 1. This is one of the reasons I lean under the win total. But then what? It's all the guys that couldn't win with Wemby last year. Vasile, Barnes, Castle, Sohan's out. You want me to be excited about Luke Cornett coming over? I mean, he's a nice backup big, but let's be real. Dylan Harper in his debut, who doesn't even get to potentially crack the starting lineup due to how odd all of this already is because they have 3 franchise point guards because they made that foolish trade for De'Aaron Fox. I think this is a great spot for the Mavs, and I'm happy to play him here at minus 2.5 against the Spurs. Let's update you at the end of these opening quarters here. The Knicks all over the Cavs. The Cavs can't shoot it right now, really from anywhere, but especially inside the arc, you're not seeing much efficiency. Leading the way for them is Evan Mobley. Leading the way for the Knicks is actually Mikal Bridges, who's a perfect 4 for 4 from the field. You do have 7s right now for Brunson and OG Anunoby. The Knicks getting the job done in the perimeter, more so than from beyond the arc. That's why this game is early trending to the under right now. We are nearing the end of the opening quarter between the Hornets and the Nets. This has been a back-and-forth affair. Both teams have had themselves slight leads, though Charlotte has extended a little bit more than Brooklyn has. Leading the way for the Nets, to me, no surprise, Michael Porter Jr. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to be this team's leading scorer, not Cam Thomas. Could do a little bit better with Claxton on the 11.5 rebounds plus assists. He does have 2 early, only 1 rebound. Again, could be doing a little bit better. Kind of an everybody eats thing right now for Charlotte. Colin Sexton is one to watch. It's early season, so when we talk 6th man of the year, we are looking for teams that are supposed to be good. Charlotte is not that. If they are surprising good, Sexton will be in the race. He's going to be one of the leading bench scorers in basketball. And Miami very likely is going to finish with not just a first quarter outright. The whole identity of the Orlando Magic, the entire reason this team has a win total in the 50s, 49.5, is their defense. The Miami Heat are going to seemingly score 40 points in the first quarter on the Orlando Magic. This total was sub 220. And yet here we are with Miami running it up in Orlando. Let's get Cam Stewart with us next on SportsGrid.
That Patrick Mahomes era, I'm not going to say it's coming to the end, but we've seen it slipping for the last 3 seasons. Even when they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago against the 49ers, they shouldn't have even made the playoffs according to the metrics that year. And I think they're continuing to decline a little bit. And I'm not ready to go get all excited because they beat the Lions. Hey, they also lost to the Jaguars.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Great quarterback, the best quarterback in football. But when you play a 60-minute game of football on national TV and the referees do not call a single penalty against you when you committed 13 penalties the week before in a nationally televised loss, I'm sorry, but the jig is up.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Better bets, $90,000, FanDuel, New Jersey, LA. Oh, must be some sharp hockey better. Yeah, or a rich kid with nothing better to do on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is funny. God rest his soul, Dave Sheridan always used to say, if he told me this one time, Gabe, he told me 1,000. It's not how much someone bets that moves line, it's who's bet.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we are live on SportsGrid. It is Game Time Decisions, and we are now joined by the one and only Cam Stewart. Cam, it's great to have you with us here on a Wednesday night. A lot happening in the sports world.
Oh, you're telling me, Kev. We got everything going. We got NBA action. I know you're going wild for the National Basketball Association.
Yeah.
We got tennis.
We got MLS playoffs. We got hockey. We got it all, buddy. Yeah, it's a beautiful menu this time of year. And I actually these guys are still golfing too. I told you, Kev.
Where? I thought there was a golf off season, Cam.
No. Money never sleeps. Golfers never sleep. It's in the Utah Bank Championship. What? The Utah Bank Championship. Let's just say, Kev, it's a low-grade tournament, but it doesn't really matter what kind of tournament it is. They post up odds, and we can bet on it. That's what we like to do here in the grid. Find an angle, and let's hit it hard.
So tell me, Cam, then, let's get that right off the bat then. What are you betting in the golf this week?
Well, I'm looking for guys that are in that, 75 to 100 range and also guys that are in true form, right? So that's what I'm basically looking at. Utah, the ball will fly there in that beautiful air. And I'm looking at a guy that has won on tour before, has multiple top fives, and you're getting him at 25 to 1. Davis Thompson. Thompson's water seal. Great for your deck. Great for the bets. He should be about 15 to 1. He's 25 in this field because he hasn't won in a while. Let me tell you, he drives the ball straight. He'll murder it in this air, and it's all about the putter for him. Alex Smalley, Kev, he's a guy that's got to be on everybody's radar. I talked to Brady Cannon about him. One of the up-and-comers, 40 to 1. His last tournament overseas, third in Japan, too. Like, Smalley's a top 10 machine right now, and in a watered-down field, you're getting this guy at 40 to 1, and I think that's an absolute stellar bet. All these guys, too, Kev, you can get them at plus money for top 10s and 20s. And my old friend, when I go to the bar with Mr. Walsh, first we crush beers, and then I say, let's have a Jaeger bomb before we go home, Mr. W. Let's get it done at 65 to get one on Steven Jaeger, who's playing a little bit better. I'd like this guy to win for me. Remember one time I had him, Kev, he had a 6-shot lead, and he put it in like a neighbor's pool, and it really upset me. Michael Torbjornsson from Stanford is probably the most popular pick this week. Keith Stewart, who I respect, a great contributor here on SportsGrid. I know a lot of people like him. I'm going to take him for a top 10 because it's hard to win a tournament at plus 160. I like Alex Noren, world-class player. Kevin, all I see results, top five, like everywhere he goes. It doesn't matter. United States, overseas, Japan, like this guy's always in the mix. Plus 110, and Taylor Montgomery has the perfect game for this course. He might murder it with his driver, one of the biggest hitters on tour, also playing better, plus 210. Yeah, these golfers are unreal, Kev. There will be a period of rest, but the silly season, it's pretty stupid and silly. These guys like money.
Yeah, it is. Now, Cam, we are in a very interesting situation with the World Series.
Yes.
Because Gabe has some allegiances outside of Canada. And that's fine, right? Listen, who am I? I'm an Eagle fan. I'm a LeBron guy. But Gabe is always, I feel like he would have the Blue Jays back in about any situation other than the one we find ourselves in where they are playing the LA Dodgers. What is the early sense for you guys here heading into this World Series matchup?
I think, I think the Jays are going to be a very tough out for the Dodgers. Are the Dodgers better? Yes. But the Blue Jays can also compete. They got great hitters on their team, Kevin. I think the Dodgers starting rotation is very scary, though. When you can throw at Yamamoto, Blake Snell's the hottest pitcher going. Tyler Glasnow, both of those guys pitch for the Rays. They've seen some guys on the Jays, and I think the Jays can compete, though. Bo Bichette coming back into the lineup. They feel like a team that is not going to be intimidated. Very interesting. Who's going to start game one, game two? It's probably going to be, Yasevich, because they want him to pitch at home rather than the road. So it's going to go Gossman 1, Yasevich 2, and then I think he'll pitch, if it gets there, to game 6. I think the Blue Jays can win the World Series. And Gabe and I did our podcast today. He likes the Dodgers in 5. Not going to say blow them out. I'll take the Jays in 7. But to your point, yes, if it was any other team, But the Dodgers, but like he told me, like he was a Dodger fan when going against the Expos, and he was born in Montreal. I'll be doing in-game live with him after this program, and yeah, we talked about it all day today. He likes the Dodgers, I like the Blue Jays, and that's life, right? And you know what? You can't help but and I have a lot of friends who are Buffalo Bills fans. You think I'm going to cheer for them if the Seahawks are in the Super Bowl? No, I'm cheering for Seattle. I cheer for what, and you know what? We cheer for what we love. Like, and if he's a Dodger fan, that's it. Like people in Canada, everyone needs to relax. We all have fandom. You cheer for what you want to do, and you also cheer for your wallet. The Dodgers are favored for a reason. I just think the Blue Jays can compete with these guys. I don't know how you feel about this series, but I think
I'll tell you, I think they can do a lot more than compete. I think the Blue Jays offense, I truly believe that if Seattle made it to the World Series, we would have been in for a bit of a snooze fest. And I think the Blue Jays are the perfect team to actually give the Dodgers a run because I think their offense is just way too good to be shut down. And the Dodgers offense, a lot of people are like, oh, you got to get to their bullpen. Yeah, that's part of it. The Dodgers offense has not been impressive. Everything's a home run. I know the Ohtani game was amazing. I'm not saying it wasn't. Cam, Ohtani has been bad more games than he's been good in these playoffs.
The bottom line is this, though, Kevin. I think the Blue Jays can rake, but the problem is the Dodgers pitching. They don't give up any runs. You saw the Milwaukee series.
But Cam, I'll just say this. Yep. I know the Dodgers guys are better. Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, these guys were on heaters coming into the playoffs, and none of them could make it to the fourth inning against the Blue Jays.
That's the one thing the Blue Jays do is they take a lot of pitches. They foul off a lot of pitches, and that's what they have to do. They have to be disciplined at the plate, do like the old school Yankees did, 16 pitch at bats, stay alive, shorten the swing, and get into this bullpen. Kev, I actually do think it's attainable. I talked to some other people who think the Blue Jays can win too. It's a nice price for me. I'll take them on the series spread, and God, of course I'm going to sprinkle on them to win the World Series, buddy. I haven't been to a party since I was 17 years old hosting a keg party. Use the coasters. I remember back in the day, I'm like, guys are flying through my drywall. I'm like, this is nuts. Okay. Anyway, those were great times. And being downtown for the celebration, people hanging out cars, man, it brought me back to my teenage years. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. The best is, Cam, they're now debating in the back if Max Fried would be on the Dodgers rotation, which is one of the more insane things I've ever heard in my entire life. These guys are crazy back there, Cam. I got to tell you. They're really nuts. You're the best. He's going to be on In-Game Live coming up with Gabe Morency, so make sure you are tuned in for that. We'll get you best bets on the way out on SportsGrid.
That Patrick Mahomes era, I'm not going to say it's coming to the end, but we've seen it slipping for the last 3 seasons. Even when they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago against the 49ers, they shouldn't have even made the playoffs according to the metrics that year. And I think they're continuing to decline a little bit. And I'm not ready to go get all excited because they beat the Lions. Hey, they also lost to the Jaguars.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Great quarterback, the best quarterback in football. But when you play a 60-minute game of football on national TV and the referees do not call a single penalty against you when you committed 13 penalties the week before in a nationally televised loss, I'm sorry, but the jig is up.
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Better bets, $90,000, FanDuel, New Jersey, LA. Oh, it must be some sharp hockey better. Yeah, or a rich kid with nothing better to do on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is funny. God rest his soul, Dave Sheriff always used to say, if he told me this one time, Gabe, he told me 1,000. It's not how much someone bets that moves line, it's who's betting.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Paige or Caitlin? Who do you take and why?
I think for the WNBA, in a sense where they're moving toward more guards when it's been very post and big heavy in the past. But there's a reason why Caitlin Clark set all those records at college and then went into the WNBA and set all those records immediately. I really do think she's just a different level talent.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Game Time Decisions up next. It's In-Game Live. You're going to get Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart. We're going to have Cam stick around here just quickly before he gets on the run. Cam, let the people know what you like tonight.
Well, right now in Hockey Live, I'll take the Minnesota Wild down 1-0 plus 1.5, Sprinkle plus 220 money line. I also like the Calgary Flames. They're the coldest team. It's funny. They're Flames being hot. They're cold. Desperate team at home, getting plus 105 against the Montreal Canadiens. NBA action, I like the Bulls in their opener, getting 3. I'm sticking with the Chicago two-step, Kevin. MLS, Chicago Fire to advance, minus 145. And in tennis, are we going to tennis? Are we going overseas? Yes. Leylah Fernandez, the Canadian. Rabakina, over 20.5 games. I also think Fernandez plus 4.5 on the set spread is worth it. She's a big pooch tonight. Have a good one, Kev. Say hi to the family. Cam. And let's win some money tonight. I'm going to need it because I'm going to throw it down on the Blue Jays, buddy. Let's roll.
Cam, you're the best. Again, I think my dad even the other day was kind of like, listen, I can't root for those Blue Jays, but maybe it would make Cam happy. Like, he's always rooting for our good buddy. Can I throw something out to the people? Sometimes I feel like in the last segment, maybe I can give you like a half-baked take kind of situation, if you will. Is anyone open to a Dave Roberts curse? And that Dave Roberts will never win another World Series after he openly screamed, "Let's go ruin baseball"? Anyone open to that idea? Because I got to tell you, been thinking about it a lot. Like, there's a lot of, like, let's prove them wrong. Oh, they don't. The Eagles had a whole song, "No one likes us and we don't care." Like, let's go ruin baseball sounds like you're asking for bad things. So I'm just going to put that out into the air. And you can just tell me what you think. But I think we might have ourselves a little bit of a question around Dave Roberts winning another World Series. Because here's the thing. Mookie Betts would have never said that. I don't think Freddie Freeman would have said that. I don't think Blake Snell would have said it. But Dave Roberts, who, by the way, had a number of moments on the hot seat during his tenure with the Dodgers, feeling a little high and mighty. Listen, I'll add this. One of the reasons the Philadelphia Eagles absolutely decimated, destroyed, and dominated the Kansas City Chiefs was Kansas City had their Super Bowl moment by beating Josh Allen again, and then they were all like three-peat, look at us, green suit, and then they got punched in the mouth. The Dodgers giving themselves all the pats on the back for running through a gauntlet-ish type, and where they were a road team against Philly and a road team against the Brewers, and all of this. Oh, did Ohtani have the greatest game of all time? I'm just saying, vibe check. It's real in a sport like baseball. If I had to pick a vibe, I'd pick Toronto's by a lot. I don't even think it's particularly close. Let's run through the card. We'll get you out of here. Best bets from the boys in the back. I love it. I hope they've two-stepped it a little bit. It's Kayshawn George over the 1.5 threes. Trey Johnson over the 8.5 points. You guys know it's a Mavericks night. For me, I'm laying the 2.5 against the San Antonio Spurs. They're better when fully healthy, and the Spurs aren't even fully healthy. Rest of the card, a couple of items are live, but still a couple more. Actually, only one other to come. Excuse me. The one other to come, that's the Jazz plus 10. All right, let's get involved there. I know people are excited to bet the Jazz. Some quick other thoughts on those late games, because obviously kind of went through them all. Bucks, Wizards, Milwaukee should score a ton this year. Giannis could be set up nicely to have himself the best assist season of his career. Bulls, Pistons don't like it much. Lean a bit towards Chicago. Grizzlies, Pelicans. How do you bet with this Memphis injury? Excited to watch Ja Morant back. Portland and Minnesota will be rooting on our pick to win the NBA championship, the Minnesota Timberwolves, each and every game. So I'll be rooting them on tonight, but don't want anything to do with the game where back spasms is what put Anthony Edwards on the injury report. And then no Sabonis for the Sacramento Kings. Can they pull off an upset early against the Phoenix Suns? I have a slight lean to the under in that game, but did not play it. That is where the NBA card is tonight. Plenty of rooting interest still to come. Plenty of rooting interest out there live right now. And I am sure that is not just true for me, but for you. So keep it right here on Sports Grid with In-Game Live next. Gabe Morency and Cam Stewart.